I think this is a real New York store, and I don't think it could exist anywhere else. There's a lot of history in this building. This is the Chelsea Hotel, and you can't see it right now, but the floor is marble. This used to be the restaurant for the Chelsea Hotel back in, turn of last century. Mark Twain and Nikola Tesla, the great inventor, used to have lunch here. So many people have come in here. The Allman Brothers were living in a van using our bathroom before I ever owned this place. I mean, the Chelsea Hotel is so rich in heritage and artistic. It's really been a place for artists even when it first opened. So when I got this place, I wanted to have the kind of store that people were comfortable in. They didn't feel like they were walking into a private club, but more kind of like a wacky basement that some guy would have that had passion for something strange. In this case, blues music and just kind of New York culture, American culture. I've always been kind of a collector. So it's kind of scattershot, but it's always something that I find interesting. And I think if I find it interesting, other people find it interesting. So the guitars this store has always had have been interesting guitars. So that brings in a certain type of clientele, and it always has. Because of the kind of store it is, guys who really love guitars want to come in and see what's going on. So yeah, a lot of famous people have come into the store. Interestingly enough, we get a lot of famous people who are not musicians. We get a lot of actors and directors and painters, writers. I mean, Arthur Miller has been in here. General Westmoreland, the guy who ran the Vietnam War, has been in here. Allen Ginsberg has been in here. That's how we got into this. My friend and I snuck in to see Buddy Guy one school night. We cut school down in the Village, and it was a really, I remember it was a terrible night in February, and maybe 12 people there. And Buddy was there with his brother, and Buddy was playing this beat-up old Stratocaster. Now back then there was really no such thing as vintage. The guy sounded so incredible. Now we were hip enough to realize that it was Buddy, but he was a real nice guy and got a kick out of the fact that we were, young white kids coming to see him, and we knew all of his stuff, which we did, and said, how come my Jazzmaster doesn't sound like your Stratocaster? And he says, you got to get an old one. And he was nice enough to show us the guitar and explain it, and he said, they don't make them like they used to. And anyway, that set us out on a quest to try to find a guitar that sounded like Buddy Guy's Strat. Now again, Buddy Guy can pick up a 2x4 and sound fabulous. You look at this guitar. This guitar was built in the late 50s, and it's certainly seen better days, but it has a feel to it and a sound and a lightness. It's extremely lightweight, and it has like overtones. That a new guitar doesn't have. Some of that is psychological, some of it, again, the old instruments have a certain cachet, but they do sound better. What I worry about is what's going to happen to this store. It's been a music store of one kind or another since the 40s, and I know the owner of this hotel is under a lot of pressure from the backers. If he puts a Jamba Juice or a bank in this space, he'd make a lot more money. What worries me is that we just can't make the rent anymore. I hate to tell you this, but you really don't make a lot of money doing this. You have to borrow money from the bank to buy the guitars because they're so expensive, and if you're lucky, you might make 10%. And there's other ways to get rich besides money, I go to work dressed like this, and I don't hate every day. I'm never, ever bored here. People can be a pain in the ass, trust me, dealing with the public, but it's different every day. Now I want you to think about that and how lucky we are here. If you're going to get rich, you do much better selling crack or Porsches or real estate somewhere probably than vintage guitars at this point. But I think stores like this in New York are a dying breed.